Welcome to the Social Living Podcast. I am your host, Julian Greene. I also have my co-host with me, Jamal Lawrence. Jam, how you doing?
Good, good. Yeah, just finishing up this week early. So tomorrow's my last day at work. Obviously got weddings and stuff this weekend, so looking forward to that. Getting all the family together and all of that. So yeah, I'm looking
Big,
forward to
yeah,
to the few days ahead.
trust me, big boy family settings.
Mm,
The whole family's coming together, so yeah, it's gonna be a big one. A mix of cultures as well, so it's gonna be very interesting. Um, so yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. See what happens,
mm,
see how everything's gonna be. I've never been to a wedding with over 150 people there, so that's gonna
It's
be
gonna
a
be
bit of an
interesting.
experience. It's gonna be an
Yeah,
experience. So yeah, man,
for
big,
sure.
big that one up, innit? Big that one up. But how's your
Mm.
week been? Like you said, like obviously you got tomorrow off. Has it been busy? Has it been relaxed? Like what's social saying for you?
It's been busy. We're still figuring out um the plans for this season, I guess, and trying to get content on time and all of that fun side of social, which has
Of
been
course.
like a bit stressful if I'm honest, trying to get things over the line in a
Mm,
timely manner and making sure everything's on the website and all of that. But yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the time off, if I'm honest.
that's good, man. Yeah, well, you
How
need it,
about you?
man. You need. Yeah, for me on my side, man, it's been a bit chill, I can't lie. But obviously, been a lot of things happening personally, so it's been quite difficult. Obviously, we haven't recorded the podcast as frequently as we wanted to over the last like month. So yeah, man, just taking it every day as it comes and just trying to adapt to the situation that's at hand. But yeah,
Mm.
man. Other than that, man, I'm good, man. I'm trying to just keep in good spirits. One of our listeners at the moment, he keeps my spirits high. From time to time, he might play FIFA, and I get to be on the I guess the joyful end of it. So it's good from time to time. So yeah, man. And I'm also looking forward to this episode as well, man. We got a lot to talk about. I say that every episode, but when we get to dive deep into certain topics, certain issues, especially trending topics. And if you don't know already, the name of this podcast episode is Can Anybody Be a Genius? Um, I've worded it that way, and that's based on Kanye West's latest documentary that was put out, I believe, was it a month or two ago?
Yeah, about
Um,
that.
where you get to see, uh, I guess, an early side of Kanye. I was gonna say an other side, but an early side
Yeah, I think that's the correct way to say it because
of
it's not another side because you realize that that's Kanye. Kanye's always been this way. It's just
exactly.
as he's grown in stature, more people have seen what he's like. But yeah, I think that's a good way to phrase it. It's just
Yeah,
the
man,
early, the
100%.
early, the early Kanye.
Yeah, so that was like let's I guess kick it off from like the beginning of the documentary. Obviously, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Genius, go ahead and buy your Netflix or steal someone's password or whatever, and go stream that ASAP and get some insight into Kanye's life and how he was when he was younger. But yeah, let's touch on like I guess the early parts of his career. He was a producer. Um, and I guess the main part was like he was a producer. He was making some good beats. He was on, Jay-Z's album. I think he was on the Blueprint. Like he was known as a producer.
Mm.
Everybody wanted a Kanye beat. Do you know what I mean? But he had different visions for himself, and like that journey of him going from just a producer to a rapper is gives you great insight into what he had to face.
Yeah, I
And
think it was good to see that and it's inspiring because he defined who he was. He didn't let other people define who they wanted him to be, which is we could like people can take a lot of I guess inspiration from that because you see it throughout different careers and different different gender norms and stuff like that, people will kind of set the tone of who they want you to be, without
Yeah,
you, I guess, determine that. But it was good to see that he stuck to do his thoughts and what he knew he could be in it. And like, as you go on through the series, you get to see more how it's benefited him, I guess.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice. I thought it was incredible. And like, and obviously the documentary is mainly about Kanye West, but even like the features of like Pharrell, Jay-Z, P Diddy, or Puff Daddy, as he probably was called
Mm.
then. Um,
The features were what
even
got me. It helped just elevate the whole thing. Seeing a young Jay-Z,
yeah,
a young P Diddy, a young Jamie Foxx hitting his notes the way he was
yeah.
hitting them, like,
Oh my God.
yeah.
That episode was amazing. Like them making like Gold Digger and
Mm.
slow jams.
Slow
It's
jams,
like,
yeah.
oh, you're like,
Iconic.
rah.
That's mm. It's the
Yeah, I was
iconic
big,
moments, man,
man.
and they've got it all on tape. I think we need to speak about that as well. Cooley
Yeah.
and I forgot the other guy's name actually, but for them to initially, obviously Cooley, he dropped what he was doing. He was doing comedy at the time, when he met Kanye, and he felt Kanye's presence, and he saw what he could become. So he
Mm,
decided to, I guess, to put his comedy on a hold and document Kanye's journey from being a producer
yeah.
to a musician, I guess, or an artist. You can call him an artist. And just for them to have that foresight, for him to have that foresight at that time is miles ahead of the curve. Because
Miles
we're
ahead.
that's what this is what we speak about now, is documenting journeys, and I think everyone's in that mindset of, yeah, this is the right thing to do. But be doing this 20, maybe was it 20 years ago? It's just, yeah,
Yeah.
great foresight from him. And he's doing what like Sir Jamal Edwards, rest in peace, and like GRM and stuff like that are doing now, about 20 years ago, which
Yeah.
is, yeah, it's
I
crazy.
know them YouTube. I know them YouTubers, like people like Marcus Brown Lee, like the guy who does all the tech reviews, and it's like they started at like years ago. Do you know what I mean? They
Mm,
put in their 10,000 hours on this thing, and you saw when they first started, it wasn't like perfect or whatever, but they were growing. Like the Cootie and the Chike guy, they were. I think it was one was a comedian, right?
mm,
Um, and it was like this is their evolution, and then throughout the documentary, you see them revolutionizing, them becoming like evolving, and you see them becoming like so they're just like, yeah, we're just doing this documentary, and then it's like, oh, now they can do music videos, and then they did music videos, and they think they did like John Legend's music video, they did Jesus
mm.
Walks, and
Jesus walks,
and
yeah.
I would you have thought this was gonna happen like before, like when you were just picking up this camera to just like record Kanye. Do
No
you know what I
way, because there
mean?
was at that time as well, there was so much reliance on the likes of MTV, BET 106 and Park to kind of be the producers of video and music videos. So for someone to do that independently with a handheld camera
Yeah,
was, yeah, it was again ahead, miles ahead of the curve.
miles ahead of the curve, man. And like we've seen it if you follow Kanye West's journey and you've seen some of the interviews, like he talks about it a lot, like he always just kind of stays within foresight, as in like you guys are here, but I am thinking over here. You're telling
Hmm.
me sell t-shirts, I'm thinking Disney, and it's like
Hmm.
some people don't really have that foresight, sometimes it's hard to even have that type of foresight and belief in yourself. And I think what one thing that I loved about Kanye, especially watching that documentary, was how he was just able to kind of manifest everything he wanted. Like he knew he wanted to be a rapper, whether it was for the right or the wrong reasons. He just felt he had the skills to be able to keep up. And like, even in some of the early episodes, and I see him going toe to toe with like Mos Def, who's like one of the best like rappers in the game at the time, like one of the most respected rappers.
Mm.
And I love Mos Def, but he was like Kanye was there toe to toe with him. And it's like,
Yeah,
this is
that
Mos
was a
Def.
good
Everybody
clip.
knows him.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody
because he
knows him.
scored.
Mm,
I was gonna say he scored most stuff within that little. I guess it was a freestyle. Like the
yeah, he
energy
did.
from Kanye was just again ahead of most stuff, and you could see his potential then. And I don't know if most stuff saw that too, but yeah, it was good to see.
Yeah, it was amazing to see, man. And like that alone is just like, okay, yeah, he really, really believes in his ability. And there's a lot of us out there, like even like right now, like when we do something, sometimes we don't even have just the belief. It needs to just start with the belief. We could be rubbish, but we need to
Mm,
start with the belief to be able to like get to that next level. And that's why I made the title of today's show to be, can anybody be that genius? Because Kanye West talks about it a lot. Like he grew up, he was brought up to be able to think that he could, I guess, become anything that he wanted to be. And whatever angle he wants to go in, he knows that he can just be go as long as he applies himself, gives himself the right commitment, he can go and achieve those things.
mm.
Um, I guess I want to put the question out there. Do you reckon is that a true statement? Like, do you reckon that's true? Like, like right now, if you wanted to be the best fashion mogul out there, you could be.
Yeah, I think that is definitely a doable thing. There's different
Mm,
avenues that I could take. Is obviously it's not going to be a straightforward process, and timing will definitely come into that. It might not happen in the next 2, 3, 4, 5. It might be a 15-year process, but I definitely think there's ways for people to achieve those kind of goals. You've seen it with the likes of Virgil and what he's done within
mm,
within his I guess 15-year spell within fashion. He's ended up becoming
yeah.
that mogul again, RIP. But it's definitely doable no matter from what background or where you're from. It's an achievable thing. What about you? What are your
Mm.
thoughts around
No,
achieving stuff like
I
that?
I agree. I definitely agree. I think what comes to mind though is like the people who might say opposite, because sometimes like you might agree that everyone can be this genius and stuff and you can achieve certain things, but then what might happen is you might end up losing focus because you want to achieve everything. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean? And I feel like Kanye is a good example of someone who can achieve, you can achieve more than one thing. Like we sometimes get labeled as this one thing, and that's it. You like, all right, this is who you are, label, sticker, rapper, that's it. Um, and even now, Kanye West still gets labeled as a rapper,
mm,
although he is a rapper, but he's other things as well, right? So he's a businessman. He is a fashion mogul. He's a creator of things,
mm,
right? But like, if he was to go to a basketball game or something like that, they won't be like Kanye West, the creator. No, they will be like Kanye
mm,
West, the rapper. Do you know what I mean? So
mm,
he's constantly getting kind of like shoved in a box. I guess my point is that you know I do think you can achieve anything you put your mind to. That is 100% true, and that process is not an easy process. I think some people
mm,
just think like, yeah, it's easy. Do you know what I mean? Like for Kanye West, you saw how hard it was, and maybe the mental breakdown that was coming alongside him trying to break into fashion.
mm,
Like he was memes like, and I remember being back at uni listening to his Breakfast Club interview and thinking like, yo, I feel like he's misunderstood. He's not like, yo, he's crazy, why is he thinking like this, blah 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 blah, but he's like misunderstood. And I felt like if you look back on it now, everything he was saying is like it's come to fruition, so it's
mm.
clear that he's literally speaking into the future.
Yeah.
Like he's literally speaking to, and I can't wait to get into that place because I'm not. I feel like I'm trying to get there. Don't know how to get there, but I'm like on that path. Because it is about thinking, beyond your current situation now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And imagining it and manifesting it in the best way possible. Um, so yeah, I feel like it's definitely it's definitely achievable. So
I
yeah,
think with that
man.
as well, and with Kanye, we're probably touching it, but he had his own support network to help guide him through that, which I guess helps with like self-confidence and knowing you're on the right path from an early age. And you've seen that with his relationship with his mum and how his
Yeah,
mum was his reference. Any question he had, he would cross-reference it with his mum to kind of get a clearer understanding about his decisions and his goals, which is good to see because you do need that, like you said, you do need that support network because doing it alone isn't an easy, it's not an easy process. So if you've got people around you that can help you keep on track and along the lines you want to go along, it will just help overall.
yeah, 100%, 100%. No, I agree with that. I feel like the documentary did an amazing job in highlighting the relationship between Kanye West and his mom. I thought it was amazing. I thought,
Mm,
wow, like you could really see that his mom is like his piece, you know?
for sure.
Like not everybody has that deep connection with their mom, you know? Like obviously everybody, you know, most people love their mom to bits and everything like that, but sometimes your mom might not be your piece, you know?
Mm,
And I think with Kanye, you could see that. And then along with that, she was just encouraging Kanye to be Kanye whilst kind of like trying to keep him on the ground at the same time. Because he'd be
mm,
like, I'm gonna be the best. I'm the best. Like they got, you know, MTV trying to sun me, but you know,
mm.
and he's just like, let's, you know, Kanye to bring it back a little bit, you know, we still,
There
you
was a
know, they still need to discover you kind of thing.
there was a quote from the doc where she says something along the lines of a genius, not a genius, a giant doesn't see himself as a giant in the mirror. And I was like, raw. There's,
Yeah,
just
that was
some
so
quotes that
heavy.
just hit you, yeah. And it's basically saying that you might think you're the biggest, best thing in the world, but in your reflection, you're just who you are. You don't need to shout about it. Like your presence will be
Yeah,
seen. They just don't need to bring the noise along with that. And yeah, like
yeah.
you said, his mum was his grounding point, his peace.
Mm,
And he
mm,
definitely wouldn't have been able to make the journey he has done without his mum in that place and the role his mum's played.
No, it was amazing to see, and like him just you know flying back to Chicago to see his mom, and kind of the mom always kind of being part of his journey wherever it went. Like even as he got big, she started to have her own foundation
Mm,
and things like that. I thought that was powerful. And even after, I guess, you know, the guys who actually made the documentary, they didn't they weren't in much contact with Kanye West, but they were still in contact with like the mum and did projects for like the foundation and things like that. I thought that was amazing.
mm,
Um I feel like yeah, like that type of relationship, having that support system alone, sometimes that support person who kind of just supports you wholeheartedly and just accepts you for who you are. Sometimes that can be your mom, some your girlfriend, your wife. But I feel like it is 100% needed, especially when you're
mm,
just trying to achieve something that I guess you've never achieved before. And you know your goals are beyond your current situation.
mm.
Because sometimes we just settle, don't we? We just like, all right, I'm making money and I'm able to pay the bills, so I'm good, you
Yeah,
know. Or you know, like sometimes we don't challenge ourselves to be better than we actually are. We
yeah,
just settle because it's like you know we've done enough.
yeah. I
Um,
think
I,
again
I,
another thing that
but
God, I was gonna say another
no,
thing
no,
that was great about Kanye was that he didn't set himself a ceiling. There was no limit to what he could do. He was a
mm,
producer, and then he was a musician, and then he was a fashion mogul, and then he was a businessman. There's no limit. There was no cap for what he was doing. He felt like he could achieve anything he put his mind to, which is yeah,
and
it's
he has
inspiring, man.
he's done it. He's done it, man. Just the sheer fact he manifested it and everything. I feel like yeah, that's powerful. I also kind of want to touch on, I guess, Yeah, we'll touch on this actually because he talks about God a lot, as his like anchor, I guess, in everything that he does. It's like, well, if God isn't in the room, then nothing is with the right purpose, if you get what I mean.
Mm.
What do you think about that? Like, because you get a lot of people sometimes. You might talk about God, and they very like, I guess, it could be quite forceful. It could be quite cultish to a certain extent. But I feel like when he talks about it makes me feel I feel different, and I feel like I guess that's how I see God as well to a certain extent. But
Hmm.
sometimes not everybody might see it that way. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I say it a lot. I say it a lot personally. Like sometimes things might happen to me. Like I remember I told you I told you the story once where I'd gone to my my wife's uncle's house. I took my laptop with me, um, and then we left the house. I thought I brought the laptop with me, drove back home, and then went back upstairs, looked for the laptop, can't find it. Go inside the car, can't find it. And then I see the laptop is on the roof of the car. And I'm like, oh my God, this has been on the roof of the car since the uncle's house. Because it was like, oh my,
Mm.
I did put it on top of the roof of the car. So here's me driving maybe 20 minutes from my house, 30 miles per hour average, and the
Mm.
laptop hasn't moved off the roof of my car. That to me, like, someone might be able to break down all the science and say, you know what, this is the reason why. But my simple answer and feeling within my spirit is God wanted me to have this laptop. Like,
Mm.
otherwise it wouldn't be here. It wouldn't be here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's my simple answer. So when I hear Kanye say certain things, it's like obviously he's trying to do what he's trying to achieve, and when he is manifesting it and he's achieving them alongside his religion and God. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to
I
like
was,
I think that's like really important. Yeah, go on.
yeah, I was gonna say, what was great to see about that as well is growing up, it got to a stage in Kanye's career where I associated Kanye and I guess a lot of other musicians with the Illuminati, and music during a certain time was very the focus was around Illuminati and whether like there was hidden messages within videos and songs and stuff like that. So to see the
Mhm,
documentary and to see the presence of choirs and God within his music, it was quite eye-opening to know that the foundation of his music didn't come from a bad place. It's all come from a spiritual tune, spiritual note that he's tried to incorporate into his music. But yeah,
mm,
like listening to Jesus Walks, I remember listening to the YouTube videos and loads of conspiracies around that and the tune and the choir in the background and how people have linked that to devil worshipping and all of that conspiracy theories. But it was just
mhm,
good to see I guess the truth of
mhm,
where the music come from and the thoughts behind including choirs within his music,
mm,
because you don't get
mm,
that insight, and it was good to see the truth from the conspiracy, I guess.
mm. No, you're right. Yeah, I think it's a blessing to see that type of stuff because you don't get it, and it's like this is where the foresight comes in because it's like he's doing this documentary, and obviously it's great that he's just doing a documentary off the bat anyway. But then that level of transparency is a level of transparency that works in today's society because this is what
Hmm.
people want to see. Do you know what I mean? Where 30 years ago, I guess people wanted to see it, but people weren't willingly offering it out. The most you'll get is like MTV Cribs, and there might
Yeah.
be some kind of like one-off, I guess, like documentaries, like on a documentary on a lead up to an album release and stuff like that. I've witnessed in the past, um,
Hmm.
but like that level of insight. into Kanye and his music and where it comes from, and even how old some of the songs were from his first album, from when his first album was released, to me, mind blowing. Like
Mm,
I thought, like, wow, like how, like, because it's like it just kind of proves, certain songs are timeless. They're actually timeless.
yeah.
It doesn't matter what trend is going on now, whether it's drill, whatever. Certain songs are timeless because of how it's made,
Hmm.
and maybe like the message behind, you know, what he's saying. I just thought, you know what, this guy is on another level. He's on a level, and I can officially give him his genius status, whether he wants it or not. It doesn't matter. But like, when okay, you got the nod from me. Anyone who talks
Hmm.
about
But
Kanye from now on, he's a genius. Like, yeah,
he definitely wants it though. Could you see with through the doc that he wants people to refer him as a genius? Like
yeah,
there was a few instances where he wanted his flowers at the time. And I think
yeah,
people would look at, I know his mom mentioned how it would come across, but for him, it was just self-confidence. He knew his worth and he wanted other
mm,
people to see that as well. But there was a scene, one of the scenes that sticks to me was when he was trying to break through. I think he was signed with, what's Jay-Z's record label called?
Rockefeller Records.
Rockefeller. Yeah. He was signed to Rockefeller, and I think it must have been a year in, and he still wasn't being heard as a musician. So he went around Rockefeller just rapping All Falls Down, I think it might have been,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
anyone he could find, no matter if it was the receptionist, the cleaner.
yeah,
He was rapping to anyone. He just wanted people to know that he was a rapper and this is what he does. And just the courage to do something like that is you think you see more of it in this day and age, but you definitely don't. But again, he's
mm,
just, I guess, relentless with what he was trying to achieve, and nothing was going to stop him.
mm, mm. I see. Oh, it's amazing, man. Like, even it's funny you mentioned that part because it's kind of coming back to me where he's like playing it to like the receptionist. And he's not. I feel like it's like, why are you playing it to me?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I,
She's like
I, I,
that. She's like,
I thought that was so funny, but it's a sheer confidence, and it's like we all probably should try to be like that, whether it's at work, whether it's like whatever it is you're doing. Sometimes, especially, I don't know about American culture, but I feel like British culture sometimes is like we play down who we are sometimes, and we just kind of
mm,
act like we're celebrities already, if you get what I mean. So it's like,
yeah,
we, there's a lot of like people who will self-promote, but the person who's self-promoting themselves, you would look at them and be like, well, why are you doing that? That's not our culture. We don't do that. But in America, I
yeah.
know they self-promote a lot. You talk about yourselves and what you do, and you shout out about it as much as possible. And I guess that's the rule. I guess the number one rule of marketing, isn't it? It's like
Mm,
it's getting people's attention, and
yeah.
and then after you get people's attention, how long can you keep it? And Kanye is amazing at that right now, I think.
It also just to kind of touch on where that went with him, guest performing to anyone he could find within Rockefeller. He then went to the studio and I don't know what record he played, but he played a record to Pharrell, and Pharrell was like, "Rah, I didn't know you could spit like this. Like, you're my favorite
Yeah,
rapper,"
yeah,
and it kind of shows
yeah,
that
yeah.
you'll keep trying and trying and trying and showing your products or whatever it might be to different people, but it might just take that one person to give you an opportunity or to actually hear or see your body of work to for it to click and for more people to start to understand. And you saw that
Yeah.
with him, like once a few, I think he started working with John Legend. After that, Jamie Foxx, there was a few other artists that started to collab with him as they found out what he was capable of. But it showed, like you said, it is marketing. Like you might not get it right the first time, you might not get it right the 50th time, but it just takes one moment, one product, one song, just the one thing
Yeah,
for it to click with someone,
yeah.
and that can be the come up from there, I guess.
That's the game changer, man. That is the game changer. It's like it's weird because I feel like, we know this stuff, but then do we ever practice what we might be preaching sometimes? Because it is about casting that net as wide as you can cast it, and then pulling it in and seeing how many fish might come in. Might not get no
Yeah.
fish, but you go again. Do you know what I mean? But
Mm.
the wider you cast the net, the more chance you're gonna have to catch a single fish, and that's all you need. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, no man, big up Kanye, and even on that song as well, specifically with Pharrell, the the song you're talking about is Through the Wire, and he had the accident. Obviously, his jaw was broken, was it, in different places, and he had to wear a wire around his mouth like braces type thing. And he's made that song up, and he's spitting through the wire, and the song is called Through the Wire. That to me just made the song even special. I had to go play the song straight away. I was in my car. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had
I
to
need to
play it
get this
straight
on.
away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
And
definitely.
even that is genius as well, because like it's this documentary has come out now. It didn't come out, I guess, like 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's come out now. So what's it gonna lead to? More streams, more attention. Where if it came out, if it didn't come out around this time and it didn't do a deal with Netflix, how would it come out? Would it come out in a DVD? It might not even
Mm.
hit the
That's
same
what,
way it hit now. Do you know what I mean? And it's
obviously,
like, they're gone.
like I say, obviously he's had his stream player um release that I
Yeah.
guess we'll touch on soon. But I wanted to ask you, why do you reckon he launched it now? Why do you think now was the right time? Because the right time could have been 5 years ago. It could have been when he was launching Yeezy.
Mm.
Like there could have been a right time 10 years ago. I wonder why he waited
Mm.
until this moment to release it.
I think that this is why people have to believe in God sometimes. I don't like pushing it like this, yeah, but I say it like this because I don't think, all these calculations that we're saying and we're making it seems like it's more genius.
Mm,
Sometimes it's the luck of the timing, isn't it? So
mm,
there's different factors that come into play. Who's paying the right money for this documentary? Netflix will. And Netflix probably wouldn't have done that type of deal 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
mm,
But they can do that deal now. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's a
mm.
factor, just the making sure that he's getting the value that he wants from this, from this documentary. Um, I also think that it was like a product that was in the background that just wasn't finished yet. But once it was finished, it's like, okay, cool. What can when's the right time? All right, let me drop this after I drop my album, or once I announce that I'm about to have my second album come out. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
And like that's
mm,
where it's like he's thought of that, but he might not have thought, okay, I'm gonna release this. Let's release it in 10 years from now. I don't think he thought that. Do you know what I
mm.
mean? But it's like he wants to get what he wants worth. Like he wants to get the right worth from what he's just produced, and that worth might not have been 10 years ago. He might not have been getting it. Okay, we'll still hold on to it. We know what we got.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
again, it's
mean?
just the foresight of him and his team. Because there could have been so many opportunities where this could have been brought out by a lot of different corporations. Like I said, when Yeezy was launched, when he got with Kim, when a few of the albums
Mm,
were dropping, there would have been so many opportunities where he would have liked to use the buzz around the documentary to I guess to piggyback off of an album drop or something else that was going on. But it just
mm.
feels like you said, this felt like the right time to do it. And sometimes, like you said, it is a bit. It's just timing and maybe foresight, and I guess a bit of luck and guidance from whoever
It's the
to
universe.
get
It's
it
the
right.
in my
Yeah.
head. It's the universe. The universe has to come. Like I'm sure, like it- things have happened to you. It might not be on this big scale, right? But if you carry yourself in a certain way, you got lucky in a way that you can't even explain, and that luck can repeat itself. But yeah, I feel like you have to be. It's like you have to be in tune to a certain extent. Like if I go back to the situation talking about my laptop, like I could have just turned. If I turned left instead of right, the laptop could have fallen off the top of my car, but it didn't.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? it's little things like that. It could have rained, but it didn't. Like, you know, like all these things that people could have walked past and seen what that was, but they didn't.
Mm,
So it's
mm,
like all these different things that just the things that are outside of my control that happen. And people, this is where I guess this is where I guess I step away from like science a little bit and I go, all right, something else is at play here, if you know what I mean. Something else, you can call
mm,
it God, you can call it universe, you can call it whatever you want. But I feel like something else is at play here, and that has worked in my favor. You can call it luck. People might even just call it luck. I was very
mm.
lucky, very, very lucky. But I just feel like I always say, I just short answer, okay, that's God. That is God right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So many things that happen. It's like even like I could talk about my missus. We were the only two people on the course that we did, you know, at uni.
Mm,
What is that? Like
mm,
two people. That's it. And it's just like, oh, who would have known 10 years ago she was gonna be my wife? I don't know, but someone
mm.
who had the foresight, like it's like it's meant it feels like that was
Meant
meant
to
to
be.
happen. Yeah.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? How do you explain that? I have no idea.
mm.
So
It's
yeah,
just
man,
mad, madness.
that's yeah, that's my take on that. But let's touch on to Kanye like as he is today as well. So obviously we've got the situation with the Kardashians. Um, like it's a bit of a bit of a mad one now, isn't it? Because like it's like they are separated, right? Or they're going through a divorce.
Yeah, I think
Um,
they are now divorced.
so they're now officially divorced. Uh, the Kardashians are amazing at, I guess, is it PR? Um,
Yeah.
they're amazing at PR. They're amazing at telling their side of the story monetizing their side of the story. Let's put it that way. Um, and Kanye's also, I guess, really good at ensuring that he looks crazy to a certain extent. Like
Hmm.
he would, because obviously we know Kanye isn't really good at like I guess explaining himself. You know, he
Hmm.
doesn't talk in a way where everybody's on the same page because he's probably on different pages at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And you know, that happens. But what's your take on the current situation? Like, how do you reckon he should handle everything? Because everything is in the public eye. It seems like it's part of like both their strategies. Is
Mm.
like one's like dead silent. I'll say something in my brand new, you know, reality TV show, you know,
Yeah.
and the other one's
Yeah.
like going crazy on Twitter, you know.
I think what was good to see near the end of the doc, I'm not too sure if you got that far, but just to see how what the struggles Kanye has in terms of
Mm.
his mental health and what he's gone through. I think he's what's the phrase? But he's been into a institution. Is that the right word? It might not be.
Yeah,
But he's been
rehab.
into rehab. Yeah, might be a better word. He's been into rehab to kind of assess his mental health and find a way for him to cope with it better. And I think he's been
Mm.
diagnosed as bipolar now, which will help him deal with his ups and downs and his personality. But you also see the effects it has on other people, and we saw it with Coody within throughout the doc. But you can kind of only imagine how it must be having a person like that within your family as a husband,
Mm.
as Kim has
Mm.
had it. But with the
Mm.
situation now, you can see his ups and downs and his mindset through the different platforms he's using to get his voice heard, which is good. Like you
Mm.
said, it's part of his strategy. It's part of his thought process in terms of making sure that people are aware of what's going on in his life, so that people can get
Mm.
involved to help the situation. And it probably has helped. If he wasn't getting a response from Kim, Kim's definitely responding now because Kim doesn't want her business on Instagram every 5 minutes. So in terms of
Yeah.
that, it's working. If that, I don't know if it's the healthiest way to go about that for him and for his family, for
Yeah.
the family news to be everywhere and to be on every topic, every shade barrow, every made you think, every Hackney's finest for everyone to have their 2 pence. I'm not too sure if that's
Mm.
the best way to go about it, but it's a strategy that I guess he thinks works for him. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can see it through these different outbreaks that this might
Mm.
just be an episode of his that he might be struggling with, and this is his way of dealing with it, or in his head, this is the
Mm.
best way he needs to deal with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
what he's talking about isn't bad. I guess it's the way he's going about it, like his how he wants his daughter to come off TikTok. At least that's a relevant statement to say.
Oh yeah,
And
100%.
he just wants more control over what his kids are doing. And I guess he might have tried other avenues and it's not got anywhere. So he's using his voice and his platform to I guess get his voice heard, which is a good strategy. It's just making sure that he's in control of the situation and the situation isn't controlling him, I guess.
Mm. Mm. It's hard because it's like what social media and the internet's like. They will just be like, it's very simple. Like how you said it just then. It's like he's got his daughter. He's the dad. Daughter's on Instagram or TikTok. Sorry, I can't remember how old she is, but it's like he don't want his daughter on TikTok.
Mm,
No matter how much millions and thousands she could make at a young age and become the youngest billionaire after selling a line of nails or something. That's
mm,
not he's not trying to get them into that, you know. And obviously he's been in the, I guess, the Kardashian machine and been chewed out. And we
mm.
see, how they as a family run. And could you argue and say he knew what he was getting himself into?
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
Um,
Everyone can see what they're like their lives are all over the internet, and
mm,
there's no hide. They don't hide that. They're not. Yeah, like you said, he would have been fully aware of what he was getting himself into.
mm. Right, he just wanted I guess, the baddest chick in the game
Mm.
at the time,
Which he's done
and he,
throughout, yeah. Throughout his
yeah,
career, he's always looked to find those girls, whether it's Amber Rose, Kim
yeah,
Kardashian. He's always looked for I guess, the trophy wife almost.
yeah. And then everybody has their weakness, their downfall, that thing that they lose. Like for example, I've seen women who are they're so strong. They just like they don't take no crap from nobody, and but then when it comes to like love, they're like it's like they can't see the flaws of somebody, or some like they can't see when someone's maybe disrespecting them or
Mm,
is gonna treat them incorrectly. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, oh, how does that happen? Do you know what I mean?
mm,
You might see someone, you're like, that's not the person for you. And I'm only
mm,
saying that because I know you, but then what they're longing for is something else, and so they're like, it's like they're blinded by that,
yeah.
because like whatever it is, it's like it's the trophy, it's the shine of the trophy, but really it's not the trophy you
Mm,
really want. Do you know what I mean? And it makes it a bit
mm,
difficult. I know that if it was me, I probably wouldn't react in this way, but then I think I'm the control I might have might be a little bit different, as opposed to like Kanye. He's like out of control. He talks about the people that are in between him and his wife. I remember on the Drink Champs episode, he started dropping names like her publicists and stuff like that. Like he knows exactly who are the people that are in Kim's ear, telling her what to do, and pulling the strings and stuff like
mm,
that. And are solely focused on like image and public, stuff like that. But obviously I hope one day I'm never in that type of situation, but I'm definitely gonna try to choose the route of like a Jay-Z and Beyonce, everything in house.
yeah, for
Nothing
sure.
needs to be nothing needs to be said outside. You know what I mean? Inside the house is when you sort your issues. You don't bring outside to the inside of your house.
Mm,
So you try and sort it out that way. So
oh, for sure.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's Kanye in a nutshell, man. I don't know if you got anything more to add in terms of being a genius, Kanye as a genius. Where I guess we can ask this question actually. Where do we see Kanye going in the next 10 years?
Yeah, I think for him and where he's at, obviously he's just launched this STEM player, which is his own streaming platform or device where he released his most recent album on. And with Kanye, for me, I don't know if this is a long-term thing or just a short-term plug to maybe like a stepping stone for something else. But I guess that's a good move for him in terms of like ownership and all of that. We've got a question.
Oh,
We've got a
hit me.
question.
What's the
Should we
question?
play it?
Yeah, go for it.
Just came into this. Just wondered if you even knew how to spell genius. And when you talk about Kanye, the genius just fades away.
Wow, conscientiousness. That's quite funny. When it comes to Kanye West to us, when you say genius, I think it just gets louder, and you could probably hear it even louder on his stem player. So I guess that's all I can say on that matter. What about you, Jam?
Yeah, no, definitely. There's no doubt in what he's done and his ability and the level he's got to. I think it'd be the disrespect not to call him a genius. You can't compare many people to him on that level and what he's done throughout his career. So, no, like you said, it does get louder the more you speak about him and the more you highlight what he's done throughout the career he's had.
And anybody can be a genius.
Mhm.
Let's wrap it up there, man. Let's wrap it up there. It's been a good episode. Conscientiousness or consciousness. Thanks for joining in. Isaac Loro, I see you. Vanessa, I saw you. Thank you for listening. That is the end of the Social Living Podcast. It's a wrap.